Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and good crack-a-noon to our friends on the East Coast. I am Todd Obert, President and CEO of Productive, joined here alongside me virtually, Charles Bowen, Solution Engineer from Zix. We are going to be talking about making your email more secure, compliant, and effective. We're going to take a 30-minute trip through email security. We're going to take a look at how to improve it. We're going to look at the Zix platform, and we're going to go through the demo with Q&A throughout. If you don't have your mute on, please throw that mute on while you're not talking, and it'll help clean up the audio so we don't have any feedback coming through the mics. But if you do have questions, utilize that chat feature, and we'll take it from there. But first, let's meet Productive in 1 minute or less. So you're asking yourself, who is Productive? Well, I'm very glad you asked this question. Productive provides security solutions for mid-sized companies. We offer specialized expertise to answer technical and licensing questions. We also implement, test, and optimize all the products that we sell. We do security assessments. We can help you with Active Directory security assessments. Configuration assistance, we can help implement email solutions as well as gateway and firewalls. We also produce a lot of third-party content, and you can find a lot of this on our YouTube channel, as well as productivecorp.com solving security. The bottom line is we have the resources to help you, whether it's implementation, assessment, licensing, or optimization services. We are here to help. Help at productivecorp.com. It comes to everybody. We'll respond to it. 612-375-0204. If you still have a rotary phone, you can call us. Now, I'd like to tell you, right, you're here for Zix. You're here to talk about email security. You're probably running O365. You might be running G Suite. You're most likely have that email in the cloud. That's only getting you part of the way there. It's not all the security you may or may not need. And, we partnered with Zix as a email security provider. Fantastic job in what they do. They have over 80,000 customers. They are in all the verticals. They understand this space, and they understand that you need uptime. You need to prevent users from getting in their own way and creating security issues, and you need to be able to report and demonstrate that. So today, Charles Bowen of Zix is going to take us through it. So I'm going to hand it over to him, and we are going to, take it from there. So, Charles, I think you're ready. I want to just make sure I pass control to the right person. So did I just pass that to you?
I believe you did. And
Yep.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name's Charles Bowen, as Todd just mentioned. So I am one of the engineers over here at Zix. And Todd, you actually might have passed it to a different.
Okay. I'm going to.
Should be the one. I think you can see my microphone lighting up with the speaker icon there next to my staff name there as the panelist.
Okay,
but once I get the control, I can share out my screen and just to give you an idea of Zix in a nutshell, and to kind of add to what Todd gave us there with that great intro. Zix, we are email security compliance driven solution. We are headquartered in the U.S. out of Dallas, Texas. And here we go. Now I got my.
Perfect.
Should be seeing my screen now.
Yep.
And do you see the Zix portfolio slides up on the screen right now?
I see the best method of delivery, and then I see an email in front.
All right, no problem. Let me slide over to that screen then.
Perfect.
Great. So to give you an idea of really what we help our customers accomplish here at Zix, we help them stay productive, secure, and compliant. And really one of the biggest hurdles we tackle when doing that for our customer base is allowing them to seamlessly communicate between customers, business partners, without a lot of end user training needing to rely on your users recognizing inbound threats or recognizing that they're sending sensitive information or recognizing, what they need to keep and preserve for regulatory requirements and things of that nature. And to give you an idea of the portfolio we're offering here at Zix, we do everything from advanced email threat protection to protect against not just spam messages and malware, but also zero-day ransomware, phishing campaigns, spoofing impersonations where they may be using an alias of an employee, CEO, asking them for wire transfers, things like that. We do also offer Microsoft Office 365 services and offer US-based support for all of those solutions as well to help your organization be as productive as possible. But then we also help with any of those compliance needs with our email encryption, our data loss prevention, as well as our universal archiving, where we can archive not just email, but also 50 different channels of social media, internal chat communications like Slack and Skype for Business, even Bloomberg terminals, if your organization is using those. And all of our support is US based out of our headquarters in Dallas, Texas, or another office in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And they are available 24/7, 365 days a year to help you with any of your deployment, any issues that come up, and that's fully included in all the services at no additional cost. Now, here is how Zix really helps our customers maintain that productivity, security, and compliance, whether it's offering the tools your organization needs to communicate internally or collaborate on different projects through Office 365 tools, internal chat tools, things like that, or it is securing your environment from those malicious bad actors, whether they're sending those zero-day malware campaigns, the business email compromise campaigns, which are those spoofing campaigns, even malicious URLs, bad links, or sandboxing attachments that have potentially suspicious macros and things of that nature. And then there's that compliance portion where we do offer that irrefutable archive for any needs for e-discovery, ongoing litigation, internal audits, or even external audits if you're dealing with SEC, FINRA type organizations. We can even proactively be flagging messages, alerting them to certain compliance folk to actually take a look at. They can escalate those, so it's all occurring in real time, making sure that nothing's going to be slipping through the cracks and opening your organization up to any compliance risk. And then obviously we grow with our customers. So Zix does really scale indefinitely. We work from everyone from small businesses to Fortune 500 companies, blue chip banks, companies you're very familiar with hearing there. And then reliability, we operate all our own proprietary data centers. They're all based in the US. They are SOC 2, SOC 3, PCI compliant, meet any ISO or NIST requirements you may have. And we can definitely always provide any of that due diligence as we go through conversations along those lines. And all of our data centers are owned by Zix, and we have redundant backup locations running active. So if there ever is a concern going to the cloud and outages and things like that, you can get that peace of mind knowing that we are going to be with you every step of the way and maintain that uptime for you.
Yeah, that's huge. The local support is great.
Yep, absolutely. That's definitely one of the biggest differentiators between us and a lot of our competitors as well. So we're never going to nickel and dime you for support or tier our support or anything along those lines. Once you're a Zix customer, all Zix customers are treated exactly the same as equals, regardless of whether you are a small business or a Fortune 500 bank. And to give you an idea of that customer base and the organizations that are utilizing Zix, we are the largest secure email industry community in the industry. We have more than 80,000 customers. We actually have more than 70 million email addresses in our encryption directory, and that's growing. We work with 30% of all US banks and 40% of all US healthcare organizations, and a lot of those federal regulators that are going to be communicating with those highly regulated verticals on a day-to-day basis. So we make it very easy for our customers to communicate back and forth between each other. And really the value of Zix is being able to maintain that security, that compliance without a heavy burden on end user training. And prioritizing their need to recognize that sensitive information you're sending. So if you let me pull up a slide here, this is our best method of delivery slide. This is to really give you an idea of how we sit in the mail flow of our customer base. So typically, we're going to be a hosted solution after your mail server. For the encryption, we're going to be set up as the smart host in most cases, but you can route subset of users to us if needed. But typically, we recommend that you allow us to be scanning all that outbound email traffic. And the great thing about Zix is it is all policy-based, automated email encryption. So we can definitely roll out, Outlook plugins, keywords for users if they're, sure they're sending something sensitive and they want to make sure it's going to go that way. But we're also going to pick up on any of that sensitive content that our customers want us looking for without the end user being aware it's in there. So if it is a Monday morning and a user sends an Excel spreadsheet and they don't realize there's a row of social security numbers buried 3 books into that Excel, with Zix, we're going to be scanning subject, body, and attachment for that content and triggering either encryption policies off it, but we can also even trigger data loss prevention and quarantine policies as well. And we come pre-configured out of the box with all filters and lexicons for US regulations. So whether it's GLBA, HIPAA, FERPA, state privacy laws, credit card numbers, social security numbers, PCI, PII, even a profanity filter is available right out of the box as well. But really one of the cool things as well, and that, as I mentioned, our support's fully included and so is our deployment. We will actually custom build those filters for you if there is a way that you are internally tagging data you'd want us to pick up on. We can build that filter, put in place at no additional costs, either during the deployment or anytime down the road. Those filters are more than just dictionary definition logic. They're using Boolean logic and fuzzy matching. So those complex and/or statements where if I am sending a cancer horoscope around, I don't need to trigger a HIPAA policy just because that word cancer is in there. What we're looking for is that word cancer along with a prescription drug name, a diagnosis term, patient ID number, or date of birth with a 6-digit number string that could be a date that qualifies that being a HIPAA violation and triggering encryption off that. So to give you an idea of yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so how I was just going to say, how long does it take to get deployed, and how many of the customers take advantage of the filters? Are you guys writing custom filters, and what does that kind of time frame and process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So typical deployment timeline is about 2 weeks, and it is up to the individual customer discretion on what that best timing is for them. But we do most of the heavy lifting in terms of constructing that hosted zone, building out those policies. Really, you are assigned a deployment coordinator, which is a dedicated engineer who's going to spearhead that whole deployment for you. And they will actually schedule a kickoff call with all our customers. And then they will also send a deployment questionnaire so that our customers can answer what regulations they're beholden to, things like that. So when that call occurs, we can hit the ground running, building those custom filters. And it is typically a 2-week long process.
And that's all included in the purchase price, correct?
Correct. Yeah, there's no
awesome
additional charges for any of those services. And then if anything needs to be tweaked down the road, there's never an additional cost either. All that support and deployment is fully included in our pricing.
Okay, that's a great value.
Absolutely. And that's really something that differentiates us from a lot of our competition. And then once a message is found to be worthy of encryption, whether it's based on the automated policies or a user manually triggering with a keyword or a plugin, we're going to go through this best method of delivery to make sure that email is going to be delivered securely, but also in the easiest way possible for our customers. So the first thing we do is a key lookup in our Zix directory. So as I mentioned, we have over 70 million email addresses and growing in that directory, and a lot of them are financial institutions, healthcare institutions, as you saw on my slide earlier. But when we see you're sending to another Zix customer, that email is going to go along this top green line using S9 AES 256-bit encryption, where it will be delivered to that other Zix customer's gateway where their private key will decrypt it. It's all mandatory TLS connections locked down to specific IPs between our appliance and the mail server. And then the great thing is that is going to be displayed just like a regular email in the mailbox of that user. So here is actually a message I sent myself prior to this message starting, this webinar starting. And as you can see, any Zix to Zix messages come in with this blue branded bar letting me know it was sent securely. But as that end user, there's no additional steps, there's no passwords, portals I need to go through in order to view that message. And then when I go and reply back to this message, it will also be bidirectionally encrypted. So since we're all Zix customers, that gateway is going to pick up on that credit card information as well, send it back to me where, so we actually have an encrypt if you can feature where if you're communicating with another Zix customer, we're just going to send it encrypted by default because there's not going to be any added steps for anybody on either end of that communication. Now, one of the great values of that is since we are doing that encryption as the last hop out of the mail environment and decrypting as the first hop in, that also allows threat protection solutions to have this full visibility into those encrypted messages for threat scanning. It also allows those encrypted messages to be captured by any journaling connectors for archiving purposes on the mail server. So we understand there are a lot of headaches around compliance with secure email, especially if those messages are existing in a portal that's hosted out on the web, and now there's no trace of that in the mail environment in case there is an audit or subpoena or whatever hurdle you're coming up against as an organization. So our service allows for full visibility, full capture of all those messages, as well as full scanning, while still keeping that peace of mind that it's going to be secured in transit the whole way. Now,
Cool.
We understand not everybody is going to be a Zix customer as much as we wish they were. So if we do that key lookup and see they're not in the Zix directory, we will fall back to a TLS delivery method, which means we will query that recipient's mail server, see if they support a minimum requirement of TLS that we set at TLS 1.2. And if they are, we'll be able to actually deliver with that same blue bar transparently to non-Zix customers as well. So if there are business partners who hate going to secure portals and they're on an Office 365 or a G Suite environment, an enterprise mail server that supports those TLS connections, we can even create policies based on who's sending or who's receiving so that we can deliver everything transparently via that TLS connection to that partner as well. So they get that same benefit of capturing that information and we get to alleviate that headache of not having to go to portals if they don't like to. But then we understand some of our customers do want to deliver those messages encrypted at rest into a secure portal. So we do offer a fallback third delivery method for a secure portal option, and that is fully customizable and branded per customer. So you get to control the full color schemes, logos, what the wording of the notification email is, what the password requirements are, how users are logging in there, and that gives customers, business partners a way to actually reply securely to those messages without their own encryption. And then they can even register proactively. So if there are things like blank forms that may have sensitive information on one of our customers' websites, a lot of them will link to this portal so that their business partners and customers have a way to easily send that information back in.
Oh, cool. And then is that Zix Encrypt, is that all virtual or is there a physical server as well? Is it virtual and physical appliances or?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So with our Zix Encrypt, it can be physical or virtual. The encryption is the only product we have where it can be an on-prem virtual or physical machine. Whereas our threat protection and our unified archive, those are hosted services. Mm-hmm. And the encryption can also be a hosted service. And there's actually no difference in price with the encryption between having that on-prem versus the hosted model. So it's completely up to that customer's preference, whether they like having those machines in-house and doing those upgrades and maintenance themselves, or we're definitely seeing a lot of our customers take advantage of our free migrations to the hosted environment.
There's no technical advantage of having it locally, is there?
No, there really isn't. It's really just security posture of the organization.
Yep.
Some of them like to have it on there so they can quickly access those logs rather than having to reach out to our support team to get that or wait for a syslog dump. But really, it's just a matter of if you have the IT resources to manage those on-prem machines. And as our customers are moving into more cloud-friendly environments like a G Suite or an Office 365, they're definitely electing to also get those on-prem machines out of their environment.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I definitely don't want to bore you guys with any more slides. So here you should be seeing my Welcome to Zix Hosted Services. This is our Zix Central, we call it. It's our single pane of glass for managing all of our hosted services. And this is the admin view, but you can provide end user access here as well for things like checking the end user's inbound threat quarantine, accessing their own personal archive. And one service that's actually included in our threat protection offering is this email continuity. So if there is ever an outage on the mail server, we will actually start spooling all that inbound mail for up to 5 days, and we will be continually trying to redeliver those messages down to the mail server. We can extend that 5-day duration as well, but hopefully, we never need to do that, because then we're looking at some sort of natural disaster situation if your mail's out for that long. But this allows the end users to come in, get 30 days worth of historical email, as well as all the new mail coming in, and
And
they
then
can reply.
how do you communicate to the end user that if you all of a sudden see their emails down, right? Because you guys are starting to spool it up, but obviously you can't send them an email.
No, absolutely. Good point there. So there is still a notification email that will go to the admin, but then also a text message notification to the technical contact on the
Perfect.
account. And then it's up to that admin to disseminate that information to their organization.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. And then this continuity, the great value there is the users can actually still compose new messages out of there. They can reply and forward with full CC, VCC attachment functionality, and that will automatically sync up with the inbox and send items when the mail server comes back online. You can also have the ability to turn that spooling on manually as well. So if some of our customers who are still on on-prem exchanges and things like that, if they're doing upgrades, they'll turn that on so the users still have a way to get that email communication out as they take the mail server down to upgrade. And then in this console, I just want to jump into the email encryption specifically and show you how easy it is for us to manage all those services. So when you come in here as an admin, first thing you can manage is the secure portal. And this is where you get that full customization in terms of what that branding is, what color schemes, the logos, the wordings, and the banners you want for both the desktop version, the mobile version, as well as any password requirements, the length of retention you want messages existing in that portal, the size of the messages you want to support in there. And then, as I said, those password requirements, the alternative logins, and managing that notification branding. But then you can also expire messages that were sent to this portal as well. So if things are sent in error, you have a way to quickly expire that message out before someone logs in and views it and a breach occurs. So that is definitely one of the benefits, as well as delivering to that secure portal where it's kept encrypted at rest, is if something was ever sent in error, it gives you a very easy way to remedy that situation. And then in terms of creating a policy, very easy. So just click policy management here. You can see in our lab environment, we have a few policies already in place here. But when you want to add a new policy, it's very easy to just click the add policy button here. And this will let you name that policy. You can decide any of those inclusions, exclusions in terms of the sender, the recipient domains, specific users themselves sending and receiving. And then for the actual content you want us triggering on, we can create that custom keyword for your organization, and you can tell us even where you want us looking for that, if it's just the subject body, or attachment. And then for the lexicons that are out of the box, you can see very easy to select from them. They're actually broken up by industry and vertical, so as well as regulation. So maybe you don't need the entire Gramm-Lewy-Bliley Act regulation, but you do want some of those credit card number filters, tax ID numbers. You can pick and choose or group them all together under the regulation lexicons. And then all of the custom lexicons as well appear at the top here that we would institute for any of our customers. So very easy to just select those terms. And once again, tell us where you want us looking for those in the messages. Now we can also trigger policies based on what content is being attached to the message. So if there's certain files that should always be encrypted, or even certain files that should never leave the organization, we have the ability to be triggering on those, even if it's an unrecognizable file, a password protected file, or a file of a certain size. And then we can obviously choose a combination of any of those delivery methods. I showed you on that best method delivery slide. So these will work as a fallback. So we'll try that Zix to Zix first, then the TLS, then the portal. You can get receipts for that portal. And we do allow a plain text option if there ever is a need to override anything with maybe a keyword, or someone in the organization needs a way to bypass that encryption for some reason. And then we do offer full encryption statistics on everything that is going on in the environment. So we have a full reporting dashboard on what your users are sending out and what policies are being triggered there. But then we also have a dashboard for what's going on in that secure portal as well. So If you want to come in here and see who's sending the most messages, who's being delivered the most, even who's being quarantined the most. So if you have those quarantine policies set where someone who's sending information that's outside of their scope, whether it's a certain department that's never supposed to send financial information, or even if it's a certain, like I said earlier, attachment that's never supposed to be leaving the organization. With our data loss prevention filters, we make it very easy for those compliance folk to be notified. We can actually route them a notification email for every single message that is being triggered by one of those policies. So you can see one of those notification emails that I received from that message I sent myself earlier. And then there's a quick link here that they can click to actually come in to that quarantine manager where we perform yellow highlights to quickly show that compliance person why that message was marked and triggered for this quarantine policy, let you know what policy was triggered, and then you can even release that encrypted or mark it and notify somebody else so that we're going to go and talk to that employee and see what they were trying to accomplish.
That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely a very popular feature there. Now those reports can also be scheduled to be emailed to certain individuals right into their inbox on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis as well. So if there is someone in the organization who maybe doesn't need the admin level access to actually go in and choose the reports themselves, but you know there's one report in there that would help them in their accomplishing their daily tasks, we make it easy for you to get that information to them without needing to necessarily grant them.
And you can create as many users for admin or for basically to get reports as you need, right? There's not a limit on that.
No, absolutely not. So we can even sync up with LDAP using our Active Directory using LDAP.
Yep.
So users can be using their existing credentials to log in here. And then it's just a matter of what access profile you want to grant that user. And we allow you to customize those as well. So we have, out of the box IT admin access profiles, compliance manager profiles.
But you'd have to assign it. It wouldn't be like the group. If you had your IT admin group, that wouldn't all just come over. I mean, you would just have to select the role in Zix, or would that role default come in?
So you would have to select that role within Zix to grant that admin access. But then we do let you also create the custom access profiles. So if there is something with these built-in access profiles that is, maybe lacking one or two things, when you hit the new access profile here, you get comprehensive ability to select pretty much every search bar pane that comes up for not just the entire Zix Central platform as a whole, but the email encryption, the continuity section, the compliance archiving, as well as the threat protection. So a lot of granularity you can assign to those different users as needed. And then even as the admin, you can log in as any of your users as well, right from the list of users here. And we do support two-factor authentication for both admins and end users as well. That can be any time-based authenticator. So we use Duo here at Zix internally, but if it's Okta, Microsoft Authenticator, whatever authentication tool you want there for admins and users, we can sync up with that. So peace of mind.
And you guys support all the major two-factor platforms.
Correct. As long as it's the time-based authenticators there. So the QR code will come up for you to quickly sync there and get that account going. And then as you can see with Bob user here, as that admin, I can come over here and actually just select this login as option. And this will give you an idea of what that landing page looks like for just the user level. So rather than getting my individual panes for the encryption and the threat protection and things like that, I have a link to my personal archive, my personal quarantine, and my personal continuity.
And did you say, did those guys get like their quarantine emails every, like once a day or a couple times? I mean, you said it, right? You decide how many times a day they get there. Absolutely.
So it is out of the box scheduled for once a day. I can pull up what one of those looks like, but we can up that frequency to up to 4 times a day. And then those messages will look like this, where we let them know the sender, the subject, and then you can actually choose if you want to deliver it as an HTML format. So they get this delivery option where they can actually go right to the quarantine to see that message. But one of the great things that they can do as well is if I do need to get this newsletter down to for my mailbox, I can hit redeliver, and we can actually send a false positive report to our real-time threat analyst team. So we have a team of all US-based Zix employees who are available 24/7, 365 days a year by phone or email, and they are actually constantly curating and updating our multi-layer filters for our threat protection. So on a minute-by-minute basis. They have a proprietary tool that's aggregating our machine learning and automated traffic analysis. And they're pushing those updates live across our customer base based on patterns, trends, new zero-day threats they're being alerted to. So once again, just alleviating that administrative burden on a lot of our customers. So it is truly designed as, a set it and forget it sort of solution, where you let us know what we need to see on the outbound for the encryption that you want us stopping or encrypting. You let us know what you're seeing on the inbound in terms of threats, whether it's malicious viruses, bad URLs, ransomware, fake wire transfers, whatever it may be. And then for the archiving as well, we set up that journaling connector for the email or whatever additional media types you may need as well. And we're going to be capturing all that information. It's all index searchable, tied to your user's name, corporate email address. And it is a irrefutable archive. So the only thing that dictates what comes and goes from there once it's ingested is the retention policy set towards that user. So there's no ability for an admin to delete an individual message or nuke it out of the environment without there being any sort of trail.
Cool. So, Charles, we're right here at the bottom half of the hour. Is there any last thing you want to share or show the folks today?
The last thing is I'll actually just click into the email archive just to show you some of those different media types that are available at the bottom here. And really one of the coolest features of this archive is our compliant glossaries. So you can, each one of these buttons is an independent glossary that you can curate, where we will actually be proactively flagging those terms as they're being ingested into the archive. So if there is supervisory requirements from SEC or FINRA, broker dealers, registered investment advisors, anything along those lines, or even it's just an internal audit, or you want to be flagging harassment terms being sent across Slack or Skype for Business, we'll actually proactively flag those messages. You'll see orange highlights of those terms when you actually go to view those messages. And those compliance folk can come to predefined searches up here and actually say, just show me all the messages for the past week, month, 60 days, 90 days that was flagged by the system, and go through and start making those compliance markings.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely hear that's popular for a lot of those highly regulated industries like the broker dealers, where they're actually taking random samples of all their reps' communications every day.
Yeah, they're making sure things are on the up and up, and as they need to. For sure, because whenever there's a technology tool, there's some folks that want to take advantage of that, unfortunately. That's very cool. I really like that. Well, hey, I'm gonna just take back control here as we finish this thing up, and
absolutely,
just wanted to say, hey, this was fantastic, Charles. Thank you so much for the great presentation to everybody. If you guys have any questions or any follow-up, our account execs are going to reach out. We're going to throw the recording up and send it out to everybody. And great stuff, right? This is what you need to be thinking about in terms of email security. Zix does a fantastic job. The best way to take the next step is to really get with us, and we can take you through a one-on-one demo, talk specifically about your environment, specifically about your company needs, and figure out the right fit for you. So for now, we're signing off. I'm Todd Obert from Productive, along with Charles Bowen from Zix, wishing you a fantastic balance of your day and week, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.